All right, Nick, let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. It's a team who really have had a great free agency period so far. I think they brought in a lot of very good impact players. But I think the most important part is they brought in players that fit what they were trying to do, especially on the defensive side of the ball. That's where they probably got one of their best scheme fits, probably one of the best scheme fits in the NFL as far as people who fit the position that they're trying to do. And that was safety Xavier McKinney coming over to the Packers. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about this on the other side. This is from PFF. It says, coming into free agency, the only safety locked into the Packers 2024 roster was Anthony Johnson Jr. Even if Johnson is a starter in 2024, he profiles as more of a strong safety slot hybrid. New defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley needs a true center fielder who can operate as a deep player in single high defenses. Hafley ran the highest rate of single high coverages in the FBS during his 4 years at Boston College. Xavier McKinney arrives from a New York Giants defense that ran a heavy amount of single high looks. McKinney led all safeties this past season with a 91.2 coverage grade. A heavy factor in his success is he ranked second among all safeties with a 91.9 coverage grade in the single high defenses. The Giants coverage unit operated at its best when McKinney was lined up as the free safety. Green Bay safeties ranked 23rd in the NFL in coverage grade this past season when lined up at free safety. Needless to say, Nick, this seems like a match made in heavy both for McKinney and Hafley. Scheme meets player meets perfect match. I think this is a recipe, for an excellent defense. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this pickup by Green Bay. But Green Bay fans, in the comment section below, draft is coming. I don't think we've really heard too much about what Green Bay is clamoring for in the first round of the draft. So let us know in the comment section below. What do you, the fans, what do you want Green Bay to get with their first pick in the draft? Let us know in the comment section below. But Nick, what are your thoughts on this latest match made in heaven in Green Bay?
So I think it's important to understand as you work through the free agency period, there will always be moves and trades and signings and releases of certain players that make the headlines that people talk about all the time on all the major networks. You can go back to, of course, Aaron Jones no longer being a Green Bay Packer. You can talk about the addition of Josh Jacobs to Green Bay as two prominent examples of that. Xavier McKinney, when he signed with the Packers, got a little bit of fanfare, but the reality is everyone gets focused on the top line names, normally the skill positions, mainly on offense. And that's who everyone focuses on. And that's who everyone thinks will have the biggest impact going forward for the season. For example, the Saquon Barkley signing with the Philadelphia Eagles was talked about for a long time. Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens was talked about for a long time. Things like that. They make all the headlines, but it's moves like the addition of Xavier McKinney earlier in this free agency period that really define what a team will do successfully in the future, especially when you consider the value the Packers got with McKinney. Obviously, safeties don't feel like they're in a valuable position right now, but if you look at overthecap.com, what they do is they break down each player based on their position, productivity, age, and a lot of other factors as well, and they determine what he's worth on a per year salary cap basis. So based on 2023 numbers, Xavier McKinney, his valuation, according to overthecap.com, is $14 million. In 2024, he will count against the Packers $7.8 million. Big discount. In 2025, 17.6, and in 2026, 19.1. By those years, due to salary cap inflation, it went up about 15% this past offseason. He will be at fair value, maybe even a discount there as well. His cap hit balloons to about 22 and a half by 2027, but by then the Packers will probably cut him or restructure at that point because it'd be way out in the future. That late end of contract cap hit isn't something that's realistically going to happen. So in terms of dollars, this was a high value move that a lot of people didn't notice. But in terms of scheme fit, it's ridiculously good. Because for people who aren't familiar with PFF grades, things in the 70s is a good solid player. 80s is Pro Bowl stuff. 90s is elite. Players grading out in the 90s are usually guys like Micah Parsons, Aaron Darnold, right? Aaron Rodgers when he was at his best, David Bakhtiari when he was at his best at left tackle, right? Those are the guys that grade out in the 90s according to PFF. So you've got a guy here in Xavier McKinney who is a quality player overall in terms of over the cap, thinks he's a steal based on what the Packers are paying him. But when you consider the fact what the Packers are going to use him with means he's literally the best or second best in the entire National Football League at that skill set. that sets up the Packers to be in a really strong position in terms of the fact they're basically giving them a even bigger discount. This is one of the smarter deals any team signed during the entire offseason, and it's not getting the notice that it's due strictly because people say, oh, safety, not worth so much. But when you look at this scheme fit with what McKinney does best, and when he does best, single high safety coverage, he's phenomenal at. What Hafley wants to do matches perfectly. Then you focus the dollars. It's an absolutely incredible deal for the Green Bay Packers. One of the more underrated moves of the offseason.
Yeah, Nick, and I think we talk about this, and it goes deeper than what all of that as well. As you look at Green Bay, this is a team that made the playoffs last year. They won a playoff game. But what was really the thing that held them back? It was the defense side of the ball. The offense was really good. Offense was ranked ninth in the NFL if you look at PFF. The defense was ranked 21st. So I think adding guys on, I think Josh Jacobs probably be a pretty good player for Green Bay. I think Xavier McKinney is a much more valuable and important addition because how much stronger this defense need to be getting. So I think a guy like Xavier McKinney coming in here is very, very important. Like you said, it didn't get the fanfare that it needed. I think Packers fans should be very excited about a guy like Xavier McKinney because it's going to strengthen the back end of this defense. If you have a strong back end of the defense, what does that do? That allows the front side, your corners, your front four guys, allows them to play a little bit more fast, a little bit more loose, so they don't have to worry. When you have a guy that's one of the best single high safeties in the league, you don't have to worry about like, oh, he's going to get beat over the top or, oh, this is a guy that is a liability in coverage. No, this is one of the best coverage corners in the NFL last season. So when you have a guy like that, I think your team can take more risk up front. It's going to cost more sacks, more fumbles, more interceptions with jumping routes. And I think it's going to give more turnovers, and this defense is going to be much more productive because of it.
Well, I think the turnovers part is the key element because one of the things of having a center fielder, old school deep safety, right? The old Ed Reed model, right? And I'm not saying McKinney's Ed Reed. I'm just saying stylistically, that's what the kind of situations they're going to use him in is to cover up basically anything that gets behind the defense, right? Allows the corners, allows the linebackers, like you said, to jump routes and try and create some turnovers. Obviously, I look back in recent memory, relatively recent memory, excuse me, Earl Thomas of the Seattle Seahawks with that defense. That was a single high defense as well. And Earl Thomas, he was a phenomenal player, but his basic entire strategy was, listen, I'm going to play deep third and cover up the entire field. If anyone gets deep, that's going to be my responsibility, and let everybody else, let Bobby Wagner, Cam Chancellor, right? Let all those guys make plays in the box and create all kinds of havoc, force all kinds of turnovers. That's what you're looking for with a single high safety, a really good one. And I think that's exactly what the Packers are trying to do here because the strength of their defense, in my opinion, is their front four. I know Jair Alexander is really good, but I think their core strength of their defense is their front four. They can stop the run. They can get after the quarterback by bringing more people closer to the line of scrimmage. Again, a single high coverage will let you do that. It'll allow your linebackers and slot corners and strong safety to be more aggressive, make more plays, force more turnovers, get more 3-and-outs, things like that. And it only works if you got a really quality, deep third middle safety. Xavier McKinney's just that guy. Again, it's a perfect matchup of need, scheme, and the dollars are great too. This was a phenomenal move by the Green Bay Packers.
Data brokers sell your information to scammers, spammers, and anyone else who may want to target you. Your full name, email, home address, health records, even your relatives. It's all out there. That's why we use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura shows us which data brokers are selling our information and automatically submits opt-out requests for us.
Cleaning up our information not only reduces the amount of that stupid spam we all get, but it also protects us from hackers who could use this information to help them access our social media accounts, bank accounts, and other sensitive information. Aura also does much more to protect us and our families from online threats. We also get features like antivirus protection, VPNs, password management, parental controls, identity theft insurance, and more without having to download several different apps. That's really key. One location, get all this great stuff. It's really easy to set up. And the best of all, we get everything at one affordable price.
And you may already have one or two of these tools already, but not having Aura is like locking the front door and leaving the back door wide open. Aura is always on doing the hard work to keep you safe so you can focus on other tasks and have peace of mind. We value our privacy and we value yours. You can go to aura.com/Saturday to start your 2-week free trial. Also, link below in the description. Again, aura.com/Saturday for your free 2-week trial.